And Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli, who is a Republican nominee for governor, he has a 51-41 lead over Terry McAuliffe, the presumptive Democratic nominee, in a latest Washington Post poll. That's amongst likely voters. And Ken Cuccinelli joins us now. Attorney General Cuccinelli, thanks for joining us this morning.
Morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're good, thank you. You know, this is our first chance to talk to you since all these revelations that came out about Star Scientific, and Johnny Williams is a guy who gave gifts to the governor, and he had to disclose these gifts a little late, and now the FBI is investigating it. And then as this came out, you, Mr. Attorney General, then had to step up and also disclose some gifts that you had received, and those hadn't been disclosed before, and you had to recuse yourself from this investigation. Why did it take so long to disclose those gifts, and why did you recuse yourself?
The recusal is an absolutely different case. It has nothing to do with the gift disclosures, and plenty of things were disclosed. I went back and found some that I had overlooked, and on my own volition brought those forward, and that's my mistake. But there's nothing unusual about it, I don't think, except that I made the mistake of overlooking these in a number of years. But the recusal was because we were prosecuting an embezzlement case in state government, and about a week and a half ago, the defense counsel made it clear that they were going to drag the governor into the case as a result of some of these disclosure issues on his part, and that puts me at odds with a client, the governor, who would also potentially be a witness. That recusal from that case was handed to another prosecutor, had nothing to do with my laying out additional disclosures. So, but yesterday we launched our tax cut proposal that's intended to spur job creation, and I think, given what I saw in that Washington Post poll, that's actually what people care about.
Well, and we'll come to that.
Double digits.
We know we are going to ask you that, but you also have to know that 73% of Virginia residents say that office holders should disclose their gifts and gifts to their immediate family members, and we are going to talk about your proposals. Yeah, but I just want you to
agree with that.
Can you say now for the voters of Virginia that there are no other gifts that have not been disclosed? You're completely clean. Everything's out.
That's correct, and nothing ever went to family members either.
All right.
So, and that, by the way, is, in my view, a weakness. It's one I've complained about in the legislature, and that is the exclusion of family members, immediate family members, from some of this. I've long supported including disclosures for immediate family members. I think this is all going to give us the momentum to do it.
Well, given that Governor McDonald didn't do you any favors then with this, did he? I mean, it's not good for you that this thing had to come out the way it did.
Well, it doesn't help to be talking about distractions like this, and what for me is a distraction. I mean, the only time this company came across the radar in the AG's office, they were immediately opposed. That's the only thing that's ever happened to them in Virginia that I know of while I've been AG. So, and that was done automatically.
Right.
So, there was they didn't get any benefit out of any of this. All they've had is opposition from state government from a couple of things they've asked for.
All right, so now you did mention it. I want to come back to it. You are proposing a $1.4 billion tax cut for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Can we afford that? Because, I mean, you hear from the folks down in Richmond that budgets are tight.
Well, certainly budgets are tight for my family, for businesses across the Commonwealth, and government's obligation is to, elevate families and businesses above its own needs. And what we're going to do is reduce the growth of state government, which this past year was 5.8%. If we just reduce that down to the level of population plus inflation, that's literally over $500 million difference in 1 year. And we expect to cap that kind of growth, to capture that in the form of tax cuts and the way we pay for the rest of it, because we have to balance our budget, unlike Washington, D.C. We're going to put all of the corporate tax loopholes and exemptions on the table, and there are an enormous number of them in Virginia, an enormous number of them. And this is a classic case of using those, closing those loopholes to lower everybody's rate to spur job creation. And this whole thing was designed around creating jobs. That's what we're focused on. That's the purpose of it. That's what Virginia needs right now. Not that Virginia is unique in that respect, but
Right.
certainly even here in Northern Virginia, we need to diversify away from federal reliance.
All right, but in the last session of the legislature, this gas tax thing got pushed through. A lot of people in the state of Virginia, Commonwealth of Virginia, don't like that. Would you be interested in revisiting that issue if you became governor and perhaps repealing it?
No. You have the same General Assembly, basically. I think that would be a fool's errand, and I'm more interested in trying to spur job creation with the tax proposals that we've laid out, which do focus on the bottom line for small, medium, and all businesses. That's really our focus. We have transportation needs in Virginia. I would have liked to have gone about meeting them another way. I supported a different bill, but that's passed. It's done. That money is going to flow into transportation over time. There were some things that were good in that bill, but the overall tax increase wasn't something I was appreciative of. We are attacking other taxes that have more impact on job creation and on economic growth. That's why we picked these, and that's why we're going about this the way we are. We're also trying to go after some of the crony capitalist aspects of our tax code. We are rife with loopholes and exemptions that really only benefit a few, and we want to try and eliminate as many of those as possible.
Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli is our guest, and of course we're talking about the race for governor. It's already heating up, and you talk about energy and transportation, and it brings to mind Terry McAuliffe's record. He spent all of last year touting all of the jobs he created with this green energy car company. And also this Franklin Pellets, this wood pellets company. And I just read an article that said that neither of those really actually ended up creating any jobs in Virginia. Is he going to try to continue to run on that record with regard to energy and job creation?
His whole cornerstone of his race, the reason he would tell people they should vote for him for governor is look at my leadership of green tech and how I've created all these jobs. I'm a job creator, vote for me. And as you said, that was never true. It was never true. They were never creating jobs in Virginia. They created 10 at the most count, where he was claiming thousands of jobs in America, not just in Virginia. And of course, to the extent they've even attempted to build a plant, it was in Mississippi. At least when Mark Warner ran for governor, and he spent a lot of money in Virginia beforehand, he had the sense to spend it in Virginia. This guy went to Mississippi, got tax breaks in Mississippi, he got taxpayer support in Mississippi that Virginia wouldn't give him. Under Tim Kaine, they wouldn't give it to him.
Right.
And that's what he has built his campaign on, and now it's falling apart around his ears. And we haven't heard another rationale for why somebody should vote for him for governor.
Wow, it's only May, but you sound like you're looking forward to the debates with Mr. McAuliffe.
I can't wait.
All right.
I can't wait.
Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli, thanks for joining us this morning.